Now, Eileen talked about how crazy the Austin market is. I think one thing we didn't really talk about when she was on is the misconception that you can really find cheap homes, right? So I think the problem with Austin is if you're looking under 300, and there's a question about this later down that I'll get to. If you're looking under 300, it can be a bit of a challenge. What's the price ranges like in Dallas, and what's the market like for you right now?
Yeah, so that's obviously moving to Dallas. I was a brand new real estate agent. I didn't understand the market at all. Didn't understand prices. I wasn't even a homeowner at that point 3.5 years ago. So obviously that's changed. I've learned, every in and out of the Dallas Fort Worth market, mainly due to dealing with investors and really having me drive all over the place. But when it comes to our price point, obviously we are going to be cheaper than the Austin market. But there's going to be bits and pieces of the Dallas-Fort Worth area that put Austin to shame in terms of price. And then there's going to be bits and pieces of the Dallas-Fort Worth area that, are incredibly cheap. So you have, some very high-end, luxurious, nice areas of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And then you have some still very, very affordable areas where, you mentioned below the $300,000 price point. You can very much buy a turnkey home for $225,000, $230,000. So,
sorry, that's a client. Can you call him? Sorry. The one advantage to us is you have two agents for the price of one. So as I'm getting calls, I'm handing them off to Eileen. So you're saying that you can find stuff in the 225 range, and then you can get stuff for a lot higher. When somebody's looking in the 225 range under 300, one question I always get is how are the school districts? And so we find that once you start getting under that 300 price point, you really have to keep an eye on the school districts. If you're getting something in that 225, are the school districts still good? Now, caveat, Texas is rated 34th or 5th in schools out of 50 states. So
yeah, so that's another thing that's great about our market. I have a little bit of a leg up, I think, on a lot of real estate agents because I was actually not just, I may have been, there's obviously lots of families and parents out there that are doing research on school districts. I have researched the heck out of school districts because they were going to be my employer. So, when I initially moved here, I moved and ended up teaching at Coppell High School, which is one of the top school districts in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But if you look at really the top school districts in the state of Texas, as well as the entire nation, the Dallas-Fort Worth area has a handful of school districts that are at the top. Now, with that being said, there's a lot of desirability for those school districts. So yeah, a lot of people that are relocating, a lot of people that are moving to those school districts, which obviously is creating more demand and driving up the prices for those areas.
So we see in the Austin market a ton of multiple offers. I mean, there's a question in here. JP wrote about the Circle C, a house listed for $629 that went in a week. Are you finding that your clients are having a tough time actually getting properties in the Dallas area? Because I think that's what we run into in Austin is that we see so many multiple offers that, Rebecca brought up a good point there is that we are sending a lot of clients to new builds really because there's not as much competition, yet there's still a healthy amount of competition. So are you seeing a lot of competition where you're writing, trying to go $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 over list price?
Yeah, so I saw, obviously we both are networked very well throughout the country with agents, in every single state. I think I saw a good friend of mine saying he got a seller $60-something thousand over list, and that was in California. That's not happening here. I did recently, 2 days ago, get a contract accepted that was $20,000 over list, which I would say is probably a good stretch. Most of the time, if a home is desirable in a good area, good school districts, turnkey, and desirable, it'll likely go pretty quick, but you're not talking substantially over list. And we have still a good amount of inventory. And even new construction, what I'm seeing a lot now with new construction is a lot less inventory. Traditionally you'd be able to go to a new build community and say, hey, we've got all these spec homes that you can take a look at. This one's finishing in 3 months. This one's finishing in 6 months. Now, if you go to a builder, you're really just saying, hey, all we've got is land that you can build on, or homes that really haven't even started.
So let me ask you, that's actually a great point. So I'm seeing my worry with buyers doing new build is that people are trying to take advantage really of the low interest rates now. We don't have the crystal ball that's going to tell us where interest rates go, obviously. I've listened to quite a few different economists say that really they're just going to try to keep the Fed rate down. It's going to try to keep rates down. I've actually heard some lenders say that they're planning on rates going up. So somebody buying a new build, do you worry or should they worry about interest rates in 10 months when it takes to build that home?
Yeah, I think I have 6 or 7 new builds under contract for 2021. Those are not spec homes or inventory homes. Those are people that are actually building. And I'm getting that question from every single buyer is, hey, when can I lock my rate?
Yep.
Obviously outside of a 60-day lock, it's going to be substantially expensive. And whether or not a lender will even allow you to do anything beyond a 60-day lock would be more of a lender question to your specific lender. But I have a good friend that's a lender, and I am building a custom home, and I just recently locked my interest rate. He's actually building a home in February as a lender himself, and he hasn't locked his rate. He's not, obviously the election is going to be a big deciding factor of where interest rates might go to.
Right. So for the people, now you are a vet. So VA loan are different. Right. You do get a much better rate for having a VA loan, and there's different levels of VA as far as disabled vet. But for the fans, please tell them what rate you got. Cause I feel like I'm going to drum roll. Boom. Hit them with it.
So backstory here, again, my best friend's a lender. So I got a little bit of a hookup there. It's also a 15-year note versus a 30-year fixed. It's a 15-year fixed versus a 30-year. Difference there is you're going to be able to get a little bit lower of an interest rate. And I was able to buy it down shortly. And really it was more of a, hey, this is never going to happen again in my entire life. So I want to take advantage of it and go with it. But I got a 1.875% interest rate.
It's nuts. That's
good. I mean, at that point with a home, if you're buying,
they just gave it to you. The house is free at that point.
It's free. With inflation over the next 15 years of the note, really there's no lending interest really on that.
So now just check your email box. People are going to go to your YouTube channel. They're going to start asking for your lender. So tell your lender he owes you a big hug and a kiss and a box of cookies. So which you don't eat cookies. So okay. So we got some questions here. I'm going to start going through a couple of these questions. I had a lot of other questions for you about Dallas, but I'm enjoying the riff here. So BS. So all of you that have questions on here, I'm going to get to them. So don't worry, JP. I see your question from way back. I'm going to get to it. Okay. BS667 asked, don't plan on moving until 2 to 3 years. It's too early to start looking at buying a home in Austin. Now, the question's for Austin, so I'm going to answer it, but I want to hear your opinion on Dallas as well. So in Houston, if you're buying in Houston, good luck. All the people from Houston hate me now. Sorry. No, I'm not. Okay. So I would say in Austin, you do have a good opportunity it's tough. I think what you're going to see is that prices are going to continue. I think we will see a flattening at some point, especially if rates start to really increase. But if you're waiting to buy 2 or 3 years, I can't tell you what's going to happen. You might think about doing an investment loan, buying an investment property now. Now that might not work with your finances and things like that, but buying investment property, renting it for 3 years and then moving here, that would be a good option. Now, again, that's not for everybody. I would say, look, I purchased my first home in Austin in beginning of 2013. I held on to that home. I bought that home sight unseen. I held on to it for 4 years, did $25,000 worth of upgrades to it, and made a killing on that home, selling it in 4 years. So if you're going to wait 3 years, just know that I do think prices are going to continue to rise. There's going to be a lot of new developments, especially with Tesla and all these companies coming out here. We're going to start seeing some new build developments in other areas. So yes, I think it's a good idea to move to Austin at any point. Like, when's the best time to get in the stock market? It was like 10 years ago, right? It's always earlier than it should have been. Or when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago, something, whatever that. I'm messing it all up. So what do you think as far as the Dallas market? If somebody were to wait 2 to 3 years, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I've been here 3.5 years, and I've seen the properties that I've purchased increase in value. And if you're able to purchase a house, I highly suggest it, even if it initially means being in, like you said, purchase that as an investment and then potentially move into it when you get here. If that's not in the, in the road of availability for you, then just know that, costs are going to be more in the next 2 to 3 years. Honestly, for me, I am dealing with people that are probably a year or two out. I don't think I have any active clients right now that are 3 years out, but I've got people asking me questions that are easily over a year out.
Yep.
So if you're looking 2 to 3 years, it may be a little bit early, but I mean, you certainly, and that's if obviously you can't purchase right now, but if that move is going to happen in 2 to 3 years, if you can make it sooner than 2 to 3 years and get into a home quicker, I mean, it's only going to save you more money.
Yep, I agree. This is a good question that Marco put on. What is a nice suburb of Austin with homes in the low 300K price range? I'm going to flip this question to you as well. People are asking some great questions. So keep the questions coming, especially you, Rebecca. I see you, girl. That's a great question. I think suburb-wise, I would look Manor. If you can find something in Manor under 300K. Now, the tax rate is a little bit higher depending on where you're going in Manor. I think Manor is doing a lot to I met with the superintendent of the schools a couple of years ago, and the plans that they had to really change the schools and a lot of the things that you're seeing in Manor, I think that's a good spot. Pflugerville, I think Pflugerville is a fantastic area to be if you can find something with a lower tax rate. Definitely one of my favorite places. Cedar Park used to be 300,000. It's no longer. I don't think I could have seen a house under 300,000 in Cedar Park. Leander, you can see some stuff. Liberty Hill, a lot of people are moving to Liberty Hill. It's just so far out for me. For me, dog, it's a no right now. But I think Liberty Hill, it could see some good investment potential in the future. The schools are different in Liberty Hill. I think if you were able to find something under 300 in Leander, you'd be in good shape. I'm a big fan of Kyle and Buda. Buda, you're not going to find under 300. Kyle, you can. But I'd really say if I had to throw a dart in the best one, I'd probably go Pflugerville. That's what I would do. But all right, I just gave like 15 suburbs. Casey, give us some Dallas ones that you think under 300.
Yeah. So this is obviously a weighted question because, what exactly are you trying to buy for 300,000 too? If you're talking about just a starter home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, anywhere from 1,400 to 1,800, maybe 2,000 square feet, anywhere in Dallas. I mean, anywhere in Dallas, Fort Worth. I shouldn't say anywhere. But I mean, $300,000 can get you a starter home in just about any city. The question is going to be, what exactly are you looking for? Are you looking for, like, for instance, let's give you just some examples. So Keller would be a good option in the Fort Worth area. Frisco would be an option in the Dallas area. Both are going to be top school districts. Both are going to be able to probably get you. Keller, you're going to get a little bit more, than you would in Frisco. If you have not heard of Frisco or Keller, they're probably two of the top school districts in the state. You're going to get, again, more in Keller. Frisco, I sold a home about a year ago for $295. It was a 3.2, 1,800 square feet, built in the late 90s. Keller, you'll probably get something a little bit newer, a little bit more updated for probably the same price. But I mean, you can really, you will have a lot of options if you're trying to stay under 300,000. If you're starting, if you're looking for a starter home.
Okay. So Marco, thank you for the question, man. I appreciate it. Did I lose your audio? I think I lost your audio.
Mine?
Oh, no, you're back. Okay. This is a good question. Donna asked, what is the difference in property taxes between Austin and Dallas? So this is something on my channel I dwell on a lot. I don't know if I dwell on it too much or not enough, but I have clients call me a lot. I mean, I have a lot of people call me that ask me about this specific thing, and maybe it's because I dwell on it too much. Who knows? Okay. But tax rates in Austin vary. I would say on the very low end, I purchased an investment property in the Menchaca area. Sorry, Manchac, Texas, man. It's spelled Menchaca. Okay. I'm sorry. You can take the Californian out of California, but you can't really, what is that saying? I read Spanish words. What can I say? So Menchaca, I paid is a 1.8 tax rate. We bought an investment property for $295, and we are making, I think we're at $550 a month on it right now. So that's kind of, and maybe I'll ask, this is a good question for you for an investment now that I brought it up. So that was a 1.8. I would say you're going to see a lot of new build communities like Pflugerville, Round Rock, Cedar Park, Leander, South, and almost a 3%. But most of Austin is going to be about 2.1%. So I'll give you an example. The median price in Austin is $400,000. Actually, it's $435 now. So if you bought a median priced home, you're looking about $9,000 a year to about $11,000 a year. If you bought a $500,000 home and that 2.1 tax rate, you're looking at about 11 to 12. So what are you seeing for tax rates in Dallas?
Yeah. So being a school teacher as well, a lot of the impact with the tax rate, a lot of it's going to weigh on your local school district. So, you may be in Little Elm, but Little Elm also falls into Frisco ISD. So for a while there, you could live in Little Elm and be in Frisco ISD and be paying more in taxes because the Frisco ISD school district charged you more. But now Little Elm schools are trying to play catch up. So you may live in Little Elm now and be in Little Elm ISD, and your tax rate has shot up because they're trying to play catch up being next to Frisco ISD. Because at the end of the day, that money that you're paying in taxes, a large portion of that in the state of Texas is going to the public schools. And our tax rates, based off what you're saying in Austin, seem to be a little bit higher. I don't think we have a ton that are near 3%, but I don't know many unless you really, really go to, outside the, really metroplex where you're going to get under 2. Wow. So you're really, really looking at, 2.1 to 2.7. Then you could be in also too, with how fast we've grown. I know, for instance, the city of Weatherford, which is far west Fort Worth, is a great city, great school districts, but it just blew up so fast that it actually has to take a mud from the city of Fort Worth. And because of the mud, the tax rate is even higher.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. Man, now I wish I would looked at Dallas a little more. Not. All right. So here's a question I saw earlier. I wanted to get to it. Sorry, JP, it took so long. Recently saw a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath in Circle C go off the market since listing in a week. It was listed at $629. What do you think a hot property like that actually sold for? I wish Eileen was back in the room. I'd have her answer that. So we had a client recently that was put, I want to say 4 offers on properties in Circle C. And we saw they started off putting in at list price, missed that one, $20,000 over, missed that one, $40,000 over, missed that one, ended up going 55-ish, I want to say, over list price in Circle C. So this is a good, KC said in Dallas, there's not as many multiple offers, but going that high. But areas like Circle C, So 629 is kind of on the higher end. I wouldn't say higher end. It's more of the mid to high range. So I would say it probably sold in the 655 range. If I had to see it, if you sent me that actual listing, JP, I could probably give you a little bit more, but I'll give you an example. In my neighborhood, there's only one new build lot left. They listed it for 625. I saw it list. Within 10 minutes of me seeing it listed, I called Eileen and said, hey, this is a perfect property for one of our clients. Call them right now. She called the client. By the time we got back to it, the builder said it had sold in 10 minutes. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's not even a house. And it sold in 10 minutes of hitting the MLS. So that's how fast things move here. So just wanted to answer that one real quick. So KC, did I ask you this one? Which was your favorite neighborhood?
I don't think favorite, no.
All right. I'm going to ask this one, and then I want to get to an investing question. So what's your if you had a buyer for this neighborhood all day or a seller in this neighborhood all day, where would it be?
So that's tough. Obviously, a lot of people that are relocating here, I'm not dealing with a lot of single males purchasing homes, which is kind of the situation I'm in. So my favorite neighborhood is probably not going to be a lot of, what people are relocating to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So I'll give you kind of two different options. One for, a family that would be looking to relocate here, great schools, great amenities, great city. And that in itself is going to be Winsong Ranch. It's a subdivision up in Prosper. If you haven't heard of them, they're well known for the lagoon that they have. So if you just Google Prosper Lagoon, the city and that subdivision and that community in itself has its own private beach, which is pretty incredible. Now, favorite.
Wait, hold on. What does the house with the private beach in Dallas go for?
No. The house doesn't. The community.
I know, but come on. Give me a price.
That community, you're probably starting low fives.
Okay.
The low fives. I know they do have some townhomes in the area too that are going to be cheaper than that. But your traditional single family home, you're probably starting high fours, low fives, and ranging up to the millions. Now, my favorite neighborhood is probably going to be the lower Greenville, M streets of East Dallas. That's actually where I'm building my house. So it's going to be, completely different, than, Prosper and Winsong Ranch is, 55 minutes from where my house is going to be.
Cool. All right. So we have a question here. Aditya asked, is it better to buy a home in Leander or Round Rock from a commute perspective? That's a great question. I would preface this by saying depends on where you live in Round Rock, number one. Number two, it depends on where you work downtown. And it depends on, are we in a pandemic or not? So I'm a big fan of the Brushy Creek area. I've actually had a lot of clients recently buying the Brushy Creek area. So if I were to pull up a map, it would be kind of like you have there we go. I'm in the frame. Round Rock on one side, Leander's a little bit further north, and then Brushy Creek's like in the middle, right? I'm a big fan of that area. Nice greenbelt area. So I would look in that area, but I'd say from a driving perspective, they're going to be about the same, both about 45 minutes, depending on where you are downtown. Now, if you're far east, Round Rock, it's probably going to be more of a 55-minute. And if you're in a far north Leander, it's probably going to be 55. So I would say they're pretty equidistant. As far as schools go, that's where I'd probably look at my decider is what school district or what school and what neighborhood I want to be in. That would probably be my decider between Leander and there. Price-wise, they're very similar. You can buy some nice $1 million homes on the golf course. I've sold a couple and they are fantastic. So that's a good one there. So thanks you for the question. I would say to give you a straightforward answer, I'd say they're about relatively the same. There is a good feature in Google Maps where if you Google map your address and the address you're looking, you can actually go post dates and change the dates. And I do that in a lot of my videos, change the date and go way back before the word we can't say on YouTube or you get demonetized. way back, and you can actually pick dates like in November, December, and see what that looked like. So that's something I would do. Reach out to me if you have more questions on that. I could definitely help out. Here's a good one. Ooh, here's a good one. Any good recommendations or neighborhoods for a retiree looking to pay in a neighborhood of 300K southeast of Austin, preferably somewhere where the homes aren't stacked on top of each other? Thanks. So I'm going to actually have Casey answer this one too. Maybe not southeast Dallas, but I would say southeast Austin. There's a really good neighborhood. I would say Summer Row, which is, it's going to be probably you're going to be like 325, but it's a small neighborhood south. It's more south. I would go there. A neighborhood I really, really like in southeast Austin is Vistas of Austin. It's a milestone new build community. I would look there. Tax rate there is 2.14, I believe. So I think that's a good spot to be. You know, a lot of people are looking. In fact, I've had some clients that just are in the process of purchasing at Easton Park. My only hesitation there, I mean, we went back and reran the numbers, and it seems like some of the homes are actually selling quickly. And that's usually, you know, when you find something that's a new build, you always have a concern of when it's going to resell in the future. And Casey works with quite a few investors, so he understands reselling. So I would look at those areas. I would look at that, and then Bradshaw Crossing in South, under 300. Another one that I really, really like, I've sold a lot of homes in, is Crossings of Onion Creek. So it's not Onion Creek where you have all the flooding that's next to it. So that's another one I'd look in. Give me a call. I'd love to answer more questions on that. Casey, if you're a retiree, where do you go? Under 300.
So under 300, if you're wanting to be within the city, and it's you know, you talk as Austin as one, you know, metroplex. We kind of talk as Dallas Fort Worth as kind of two metroplexes. So like we'll have people that are interested in moving to Dallas, or they're interested in moving to Fort Worth. Some will overlap. But if you're trying to look at the Dallas, we'll just use Dallas as an example. Anything around the 635 loop. So you're talking your Richardson, your Farmers Branch, your Carrollton. These are going to be older subdivisions where your lots are going to be a little bit more favorable than if you go a little bit further out. How Dallas kind of worked is it just blew up and it went north. So as you go further north, you get newer communities, you get smaller lots, you get those traditional new build, very small, not necessarily zero frontage, but very small lots. So if you're trying to get into an older neighborhood with a little bit more generous lot, I would stay near the 635 loop. That's going to be closer to everything as well too.
Cool. So I've recently had an influx of investors reach out to me. And the challenge I run into in Austin with investors is they want to be under 300K. They want to be near where Tesla's building. That's probably thanks to my Tesla video. But what we run into is there's really not as much inventory under 300 for investors. That's a good investment. So asking you, where is a good spot in Dallas? If you're an investor, he's gone. He's gone for good. Bye, Casey. It was nice having you. Oh, he's back. He's back.
I had to let the ones out.
No worries. I guess my question really is not really under 300. I'm just giving you as an example. A lot of people are looking under 300. I guess this is a Austin versus Dallas question mainly. Is Dallas a more investor-friendly area than Austin, in your opinion?
So the Dallas market is definitely getting more and more difficult for an investment to make sense. I am buying and building a house downtown and having to be very creative with the way that I make it work in terms of an investment property. And then I also am working on another investment property, but that's 30 minutes south of Dallas, and not directly south, but in a suburb of South Dallas. Fort Worth and really the outskirts is where you're seeing a lot more opportunities.
Dogs, man. Dogs. Well, those are a lot of the questions I had. You know, I appreciate the what you do on your channel. That's why I wanted to have you on here. I really suggest that everybody looks at your channel and gives it a subscribe if they like the content. Parting shots. Dallas versus Austin. Give me your best shot, and I'm going to refute it right now. Hammer down. I need like a good graphic right here. Boom! Dallas versus Austin. Give me your best shot.
Yeah. So for me, in terms of city versus city, I will give Austin one thing, and I'll give Austin one thing because I was born and raised in the Northwest, and you can't compete as Austin can't compete with the outdoor opportunities that the Northwest has. I mean, there's just no way. The scenic views and the hiking trails and the mountains up there, just, I mean, you can't beat that. So I left that. I left the pinnacle of, your outdoor opportunistic city to venture down to Texas, knowing that, I was not going to get that. And to me, Austin would just be a pathetic step down from where I left. For me, now I'm taking a much further step down to vary the flat land of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but I'm trading that for everything else that I really want in life. So that's the international airport, that's the professional sports, that's the 2 metroplexes that can really give you the city vibe, the going out on a Friday or Saturday night and having a fun time in downtown Dallas, or going out to Fort Worth and going out two-stepping or going to the stockyards in downtown and really getting your country Texas.
Hold on. So we have the Broken Spoke in Austin where people go two-step. So you're telling me people actually go two-step. Am I just naive not to think that people don't actually two-step anymore?
No. I have a large group of friends that I would say 60 to 70 people that religiously go out every single weekend, and some competitively two-step.
That's awesome.
You're just settled and with a wife and a little young one. You may not get out as much anymore.
I mean, I do. I show homes a lot. I'm sure you do too. I'm going to say this about Austin versus Dallas, and I think you might be able to piggyback on this point. I've over and over again said that when I moved here, yes, I moved from California. I came over with kind of like that California attitude where I said, oh, California is better, and instantly got smacked with like reality that no, Texas really is better than California. And the thing that I saw most is just how amazing. Okay, if you came over with that attitude, people kind of like, yeah, get out of here, man. But if you came over and you're just a nice person and you have just an honest conversation with somebody, I found that the people in Austin are the absolute most friendly, have the best manners, are always sweet, would rather not get in a fight, right? If there's an argument to be had, they'd rather just like, whatever. I just love how amazing the people are. Can you say the same for Dallas?
Yeah. So that's, obviously I think we both got a little bit of California in us for living there. I've really enjoyed being out here and having really no issues with anyone that you come across. Like, to give you an idea, I will be in a gated community, like a small gated community showing a private home. And, those communities where they know every car, they know every person. And they don't know me because I've never been in this community and I'm just showing, some clients a home, and they will wave and they will want me to stop. They will want to chat, and it's just not what you see in a lot of other states, especially California. No,
I agree. That's one thing. I had a clients came through a couple of weeks ago, and we were driving through this neighborhood. It's a lot of hills, right? And so we were walking through, and this guy was on a bike and kept riding by. And every time he'd ride by, he'd just, hey. And then every car that drove by, everybody'd wave. And my client said at the end, said to me, wow, is everyone really this friendly? Yeah, they are. And they're
awesome. Obviously, you're quite a bit older than me, but when I was a child, I would go out barefoot across to the neighbor's house, and you knew your neighbors, right? You knew who you lived by. you'd go over to their houses. And now I feel with just where technology has gone, people, especially in certain states, you may live somewhere for 4 years and have never met your neighbor. Here, you still get that community. You still get that family, vibe. You still get people outdoors walking their dogs, chatting with their neighbors, going across the street and meeting people. I mean, it's just very, very friendly.
Awesome. Well, we are about to hit the 1 hour mark on this live broadcast, which I did not anticipate going this long. I said half an hour. So I appreciate you keeping me company here. And so I think we both came to the consensus that Austin is definitely better than Dallas. Is that what we said?
Sure. We'll let you win this one.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Definitely check out, if you're looking to buy in the Dallas area, reach out to KC. He is a fantastic person, as you've came across in this video. Check out his YouTube channel. Definitely give him a subscribe. Again, thank you subscribing to my channel. I appreciate everyone that's given me a comment, a like. Even those people that give me the dislikes, I love you too. So love you all. Thank you so much. We're going to end this right here. Have an awesome day. KC, thanks, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, bye.